Podcast 1.
Why are you fat? And could you be addicted to food?
Exactly. Can you be addicted to food? Is it possible?
So, what are the main problems we face with this metabolic guru claiming to fix your metabolism and your metabolism is damaged?
Yeah, let's talk about metabolic damage and actually understanding your metabolism. When you lose weight, obviously your energy output goes down because you've got less weight to maintain. So a lot of people think they've damaged their metabolism when they lose weight and hit plateaus, when in actual reality they just use less energy than they used to. It's unfortunate, it sucks, especially for smaller women, but it's the real deal. Metabolic damage is pretty rare, actual physical metabolic damage, and the amount that we're seeing out there of people claiming it is just crazy. And actually damaging your metabolism through dieting is even rarer.
You'll find that once you get to a stage where you need to refeed back up to reverse your pump prep. As soon as you start feeding your body more, you'll start using more energy, and you'll find that you're pretty much metabolically able again. So that you never really were damaged, it's just you adapted to a lower state of being, because your body is fighting for survival, and especially as a woman, because we're born as women to reproduce, so our bodies want to be able to survive and to create an environment where the baby can thrive. So it's going to do all it can to maintain its functionality. So if you're eating less, your body will do all it can to minimize your energy output. You're going to extract every mere morsel from your food, and it's like your calories become easier to absorb into your system as you diet down. That's what I've experienced with my clients and myself. Have you been the same?
Yeah, it's pretty simple really, and it's not even just females, guys as well. I mean, our bodies naturally want us to be fat. It's a survival mechanism to be fat. So hormonally, our body doesn't understand, it doesn't get that Woolworths is around the corner. We haven't evolved that far from feast and famine. So our body wants body fat to survive. So basically it's getting ready for the next famine. So we'll touch on hormones later and why, and this kind of touches on why hormonally that our body reacts the way it does to get us fat. But basically, if you're not fat, you're hungry. And we'll touch on that after. Biggest issue with your metabolism and people saying they've got a damaged metabolism or a slow metabolism is people really don't understand their energy output. I mean, is this something common you've seen, that people haven't tracked and actually don't know what their energy output before they make these statements?
And then they go looking at the treadmills, claiming that they've burnt 400 calories in like a 30-minute session, and it doesn't know a single thing about how mechanically efficient you are on the treadmill, where you're walking like a robot, where you're using a lot of arm swings and using more energy. Like, it does not know your body, it does not know your weight, it does not know anything. And the most METs, that like energy units that you can burn in like the hour is like, well, in a minute is 10 calories pretty much.
Yeah.
In the most intense form of exercise. So
Yeah.
it's ridiculous to go off the measures of a treadmill to determine your energy output. And if you're using Fitbits and stuff, it doesn't always accurately determine your heart rate, nor the steps that you do, because you could be swinging your arms like a total Fruit Loop, and it could be counting it as steps.
And everyone's metabolism is different. So basically, if you want to calculate your metabolism, and I'll say this to everyone, and I'll say it till the cows come home. That's an Aussie saying for the Americans, sorry. But basically, if you want to calculate metabolism, you have to learn to track. And you have to learn to track every single thing you eat, and you have to learn to do that over a period of time and track your composition over that period of time. If you maintain your weight tracking at a certain amount of calories over a period of time, you will know that that is your basic energy output for metabolism. I'm not even I can't dumb it down any more than that. It is so simple, and it's energy in versus energy out. So if you have a slow metabolism, I don't even know what that means. Does it mean it's slower than Jackie down the road who runs marathons, or does it mean it's slower than someone down the road that's 15 kilos heavier than you? It doesn't matter. Don't compare yourself to other people. Your metabolism is your metabolism, and that's the only real way to work it out.
You're simply just eating too much for your body and your energy needs.
Yeah. And we'll have something coming up on eating healthy. I eat healthy. So one of the biggest things I always say to people is they're like, I eat healthy, but, and we'll touch on this later on, but eating healthy and not tracking and not knowing, it just doesn't exist. Not understanding calorie input and output will always mean that you're guessing. It's really simple. So we'll probably move on to how adaptive the body is with regards to our metabolism. So,
I could touch on a study as well that I read where in the natives they're really active people, and they track them to see how much their metabolism differs from just a usual person that doesn't have as much energy. But because their body is so used to that level of activity, it adapted to it, and their metabolic rate wasn't they weren't eating that much more than the generic person. Your body is so highly adapted to survive with the current energy status that it is constantly going through.
Again, survival mechanisms. It's a survival mechanism. Our body wants to be efficient. So this is when people say, oh, if I diet down too low but I keep my protein high, I'm still going to lose all my muscle. Well, that's not an efficient way for your body to create energy. So your body's going to be as efficient as possible in creating energy. So it's going to use food first because that's easiest. Then it's going to use body fat. The only time it's going to reach into your muscle is if basically it needs the protein synthesis. So if you're not eating enough protein, that's when it's going to reach into your muscle. So your body
touch on it, how you do your protein modified fast.
My protein modified fasts are basically minimal fat. So I go for a minimal fat level a couple of days a week when I'm cutting that is just enough fat to absorb micronutrients. So some micronutrients you need fat to absorb them. Then I will eat about 10% above the amount of protein I need, and that's about it. Very minimal green carbs, and that's it. And I won't lose. Yeah, go.
So has your muscle miraculously dropped off in this period?
No, and I might even. I'll include a photo in the post over the last 7 weeks doing protein modified fasts and how it's worked. And my metabolism hasn't dropped off. I haven't damaged my metabolism. I'm still burning. You know what? I burn less energy as I get lighter, and that's all of us.
There is less of you to carry around, so there is less that your body burns.
Yeah, and my body's going to slow down a little bit because I'm ignoring the hormonal response. So, and we'll touch on that in a minute, the hormonal response and what happens when you ignore it and dull it, and that your body's got different ways of coping, I guess, with you losing weight and it not wanting to die effectively. So the other thing with metabolism and people not understanding metabolism, let's talk about binges.
Yes. So how much fat would you expect to put on after a binge?
After a binge, exactly. So actually, I did a post on this recently. If you knew exactly what your maintenance calories were and you ate one medium to large banana over those calories every day for the year, you'd put on 5 kilos. So over 3 years doing that, just eating a banana over your maintenance, you are 15 kilos heavier. Yet people tell me tracking food isn't important. And this brings up the exact fact of how many of you out there are mothers that create your kids' lunches for school. You're putting Nutella onto their sandwiches, and without even realizing, you're licking the spoon clean, or peanut butter. Like,
there is a difference, especially when you're a female, dieting on such low calories. There is a difference between a small spoon of peanut butter and a loaded tablespoon of peanut butter. Like, about 100 calories worth of difference. Yeah. And if you do that every single day, you make their lunches, that's about 600, 700 calories in surplus for that week. And then you say, my metabolism is damaged, I'm eating in a deficit, and I'm not losing weight. Someone help me. I'm a special snowflake.
That's a kilo a year. So there's your kilo a year. Kids don't like crust and you do.
This is why you have to track every bite, licks, and nibbles that goes into your mouth before you can claim metabolic damage.
And I'm not going to be that asshole or claim to be that asshole that says you have to track every single thing you eat for the rest of your life to be lean, because that is being a bit of an asshole. But you have to have an understanding, right? You need to understand over time that if you never put the time out to actually track and understand where your metabolism is and understand what you burn, it's very, very difficult to be lean. It's very difficult to be lean because everything around us environmentally, so your body wants to be, not only does your body hormonally want to be fat, environmentally, everyone wants you to be a consumer.
Who do you surround yourself with? What do they eat? Do they care about what they eat? Are they going to say, oh, let's just stop at Macca's on the way home? Like, your environment determines what your eating behaviors will be like. Go look in your fridge. What is the first thing you see? Is it the cheesecake that your mother made the other day and you brought it home? Like, what are the first things you see? That is the thing that you are most likely to grab. Everything is yelling at you to consume. It's going against you naturally.
It is. And so already your body wants to be fat. So we're already working against the natural scheme of things, wanting to be lean and wanting to have this aesthetic look. So beyond that, if you're not actually on top of things, you no chance. You zero chance. And I'm not even saying it's going to be hard. It's not even that hard. It will feel hard for the first 2 weeks.
Habits.
And then
consistency.
Habits. And then you'll know what's in things. Like, I can literally, if I want to stay lean, get lean and stay lean, I can eyeball everything and stay lean. I can eyeball it now because I know, because I've been doing it for years though. So you do it over a period of time and I'll be above one day and below the next day. If I'm not right, if I don't really care, I can still maintain my weight because I've learned. So what causes the binges? This is the other big one as well. So healthy food.
Food having a moral value. Food does not have a moral value. Like, it is not good or bad. It is not clean or dirty. You can't just say, oh, I've been bad today. I might as well just screw up the rest of this day because I had something that wasn't clean. Like, what do you clean your food with? Bleach?
And I need to tell everyone, this isn't confirmation bias from Ruby. So Ruby isn't someone that goes out and eats Big Macs all the time. So this isn't confirmation bias saying, yeah, you can eat Big Macs and feel good about yourself and still eat everything you want. She's saying that there's not healthy and unhealthy foods, but she eats pretty clean. Like,
okay, answer this question for me.
Yeah.
If you are you're dieting, right? You have to eat less food. What is going to fill you up more? A Snickers bar, 300 calories, or a full plate of chicken salad? What are you most likely to go for when you're already on 20 calories?
You might be asking the wrong person. I might really want that Snickers bar. But yeah, of course the chicken salad is going to be more filling though, right? It's common sense, and you know what? Everyone knows it. Everyone knows it. You can get fat on avocado. This is the thing about healthy and unhealthy foods and binges. If you desperately want something, I have girls that cut and they will have a paddle pop every night because they know there's exactly 85 calories in it. I know, no, actually it's 84 calories in a chocolate paddle pop. Okay, they know exactly how much fat's in it and they equate it into their diet and it makes them happier and makes them binge less. I know other people, and this is about understanding yourself, I know other people that can't have that one paddle pop because they're going to go to the 7-Eleven and buy another 11 of them. Okay?
That would be me. You have to know thyself. Are you an abstainer or a moderator? It's something that I harp on so much about. Are you someone that can easily just leave the Tim Tam packet with taking one out, or are you just going to go demolishing the whole packet?
And this is the bullshit sentiment that you'll hear from fit pros everywhere. Everyone's the same. Why does everyone think they're different? Everyone's the same. Okay, physically, scientifically, we're all the same. But adherence, from an adherence point of view, everyone's different. Everyone's different. Someone might do better with a fast in the morning. What I mean by a fast is they might not eat breakfast. They don't like breakfast. Breakfast is the most important meal of the day. Man. And we'll talk about that one as well. That's a myth busting. Yeah. We might do a myth busting pod on that one.
Myth busting, yes.
That's another pod.
Meal frequency. The more meals you have, the more metabolic spikes you'll have through the day, and breakfast. Spiking your metabolism for the day. We will bust them in the future.
We'll bust all of those. But
not true, by the way. Not true.
But everyone's different in their adherence practices and how they adhere to a diet. So everyone might be the same physically in the way that calories in, calories out, macronutrients, micronutrients. We all respond kind of the same, unless we've got obviously issues with type 2 diabetes, or we've got autoimmune diseases. Of course, there's medical issues. Don't jump on my feed and say, I've got a medical issue. Okay, let's talk to the doctor.
We're talking the majority. We're talking the majority within our scope, which is the majority of you people who just pretty much have to tighten up their diet. The thing is, you can't just say, I'm going to change, and then expect to change straight away. Like, it took you the past 20, 30 years of your life in a certain mind, like a certain mentality, a certain way of behaving that have made your habits and actions hardwired into your brain. Your brain sees it as a natural go-to. You are on autopilot every day. It takes forceful effort to break that. And it's not just, okay, I'm going to stick to this for a week, because if you say, okay, I got it right, and you're not going to keep refreshing your mentality on changing those habits every single day, you're just going to go back into the same old cycle. So you need to keep practicing them over and over. Pair them with the current habit. Like, if you want to floss your teeth, and every single night before you go to bed, you take a Listerine shot, and you take your probiotic tablets or something. Have your floss there, like pair it with another habit. It's all these things that can add up to the way that you go about your life in nutrition that makes you realize that it's as simple as calories in, calories out. You are not a metabolically special snowflake that has a damaged metabolism.
So I had a snowflake that I was coaching recently, and she admitted she was a snowflake afterwards. She was hitting her calories to the number, and she sent through her MyFitnessPal every day, and it looked perfect. She was eating outside every afternoon between about 3:30 and 6:30. She was overeating, and she eventually admitted it with a few tears, and we got over it. And we fixed it with a Slurpee. Every afternoon on the way home from picking up the kids from school, she got one of the 0-calorie Slurpees. What do you know? It was enough to satisfy her with 20 calories rather than a 300-calorie binge. So simple, right? Knowledge is power. Knowledge is power.
And there's a thing there as well. It's calories in, calories out. So in bringing her calories back within her little leeway, she was able to make the progress once again.
Correct. So she wasn't losing weight. All of a sudden, she has a 300-calorie deficit a day by swapping those snacks for something that she enjoys and feels like she's still getting something. And this is what I talk about with adherence being so important. So let's talk about hormones and the way hormones are going to affect adherence.
Tell me about this ghrelin hormone.
Ghrelin. So why you're fat. Let's talk about why you're fat. And ghrelin basically increases appetite. Okay? So it's our appetite increaser. It's released in the stomach, and it basically tells your brain that you need energy. So, when you're dieting, what do you think your body's going to do? It doesn't want to diet. Your body does not want to diet. It's going to say, hey, let's make some more ghrelin. Let's increase this guy's appetite. It's going to suck enough for him to eat. And I'll give you an example. Because ghrelin takes energy to actually be produced, okay? So your body wants to be efficient again. So when your body produces ghrelin, it takes energy, and you'll go to bed hungry. Let's say you go to sleep hungry. If you wake up 4 hours later, it's gone because your body's realised it's not working, right? It's released ghrelin that says, oh, this isn't working, damn it. And it'll stop because it's not an efficient way to get you to eat. It gives up. So that's not real hunger. Real hunger is 7 or 8 days in and it's painful. Ghrelin hunger is just hormonal hunger. I call it hormonal hunger because it's not real hunger. You want to touch on leptin, Ruby? Your favourite?
Leptin. Leptin is a tough topic, and there's quite a lot that goes around saying, am I leptin resistant? Leptin is the hormone that shuts down your hunger, and it's secreted by the fat cells. So if you have less fat cells, the leaner you get, the less leptin you are going to secrete to shut down your hunger. So if you're trying to get down to crazy levels of leanness, or even just leaner than you've ever been in your life, you are going to be at a lower, it will take more leptin for you to feel satisfied with your food. Pretty much.
So, less appetite suppression.
Yes.
So it's not signaling to the brain that you've got enough energy, basically. So if it's not signaling that to your brain, guess who's got to do it? You have to do it and look at it and say, look, I've had enough. Okay? And if you do that over a period of time, what happens is your body gets efficient and finds other ways. So once you diet for a while, and people who have dieted will get on here and listen to me and go, that happened to me. To start with, you'll get the hormonal hunger. After a couple of weeks, it won't work. If you keep dieting, your body will slow you down because it finds other ways to consume energy. And you'll feel tired and you won't feel like working out. And you'll feel like sitting on the couch more. So your NEAT's going to drop and your activity's going to drop. So your body will find ways to keep you fat or to keep body fat on you. So you've got to understand that it's a process and you're fighting your body a little bit to get lean.
Here's another thing that a lot of people would say, oh, I'm eating less than I was before, my metabolism is shutting down. But have you realized that when you are in a surplus of energy balance, you're fiddling around, you're walking more, you're having more vigor in your life, you're walking with more enthusiasm, you are burning more calories from fiddling around, because your greatest energy expenditure comes from your non-planned energy output. It doesn't come from the gym, and it doesn't come from planned exercise. It's the stuff you do in between, and you'll realize when you're dieting down and you have less energy, and if you're one of those carb fat zealots that doesn't want to eat any carbs because carbs insulin, then you're going to have even less energy, so you're going to be even more flat, so you're going to be expending less energy. You need to factor that into the whole energy balance equation. Calories in, calories out. There's no special snowflakes unless you have an actual medical condition.
So that's metabolic damage versus metabolic adaptation. Your body adapts. So basically, metabolic damage, unless you've got that medical condition, doesn't exist. The adaptation does. Yep.
How exactly would you say sleep factors into this? Lack of.
Let's touch on sleep. So sleep, and we touched on ghrelin and leptin before, a lack of sleep, and we talk about deep REM sleep. So we're talking about those 2 hours of deep REM sleep that we should be getting a night. That factors on your ghrelin levels. So basically, you're going to wake up in a worse state without quality sleep. Yeah, you're more hungry. Okay, your leptin levels aren't going to be where they're at or where they need to be at for appetite suppression, and you're basically in a position to make worse decisions.
How many of you guys out there have actually been so tired that you cannot even be bothered to cook up a meal, or you couldn't care less what food goes into your mouth? You will have a less ability to decide good from bad. Decision fatigue is a real thing, and you will have less of a battery, because I consider decision fatigue like a battery. Every single time you need to make a decision, your battery kind of shortcuts itself down to pretty much base levels. If you're not recharging that every time you sleep, you're not giving yourself the best possible view to be able to make the right decisions,
Correct.
to even have energy in the day. You're probably going to be on the couch more, or just asking people to do stuff for you because you just don't want to get off your ass. You're too tired. Yeah. And I'm not the only one that would most prefer to just lie in bed all day than to go for a walk if I'm tired.
Decision fatigue is an interesting one. Zuckerberg. Take it to Facebook. But Zuckerberg actually, that's why he wears the same thing every day. Because it's one less decision he's got to make in the day. Because he has to make so many decisions in his role that he's like, that's one thing I don't have to think about. I'll wear the same thing. So he's got a wardrobe full of the same thing. And he just gets it out, and that's one less decision he has to make. Because, yeah, decision fatigue is a real thing. Lack of sleep makes it so much harder. Which takes us into environmental cues, really. Because if you're already in a position to make bad decisions, then the environmental cues are going to make it even worse.
You're not going to be able to say no to that cheesecake if it's the first thing you see in the fridge and reach behind. So you need to make sure that you filter out your kitchen and make it conducive to your goals. Even voice your goals. I find this is why I am so open on my Facebook about what I want to achieve. It makes me feel accountable to myself. So if you make yourself accountable to the other people in the household and you set up the environment in a way that's conducive to your goals, you are more likely to succeed. Bring the fruit out, bring the veggies out, have veggie sticks ready to go, because it's better to don't go saying fruit is bad and then go grabbing a friggin' Snickers bar just because you're so scared of fruit and fructose. Like, seriously, that's a 200 calorie Snickers bar and a 60 calorie apple.
So what did Ruby just touch on again? That's her adherence strategy. Okay? And it's all going to revert back. It's all going to revert back to adherence and strategies for adherence. So people, and I'm not going to go out there and say everyone needs to pay me to get lean. I'm not saying it's the hardest thing in the world. I don't want to overcomplicate what it takes. But adherence strategies, understanding personalities, understanding psychological issues, understanding the decisions that you're going to have to make and not being in that position before, is important. And understanding how to track, it all comes back to understanding metabolism, understanding how to track, understanding what your energy output actually is. Environmental cues are as important as anything. Who are you hanging out with? What positions are you putting yourself in? I tell you what, if my wife Jenny, when she goes to a birthday party, okay, and she knows there's going to be cake there and she doesn't know what's in it and she's cutting, she will take a U-Foods brownie so she doesn't feel like she's missing out, but she knows there's 15 grams of protein and about 205 calories. She knows what's in it and she will eat that and she'll be really happy eating that because they taste fantastic. U-Foods, you owe me money.
If you fail to plan, you plan to fail.
Exactly. So that's an adherence strategy. So when people talk about dieting and they overcomplicate everything, it doesn't have to be complicated. Number one, go.
So if you hear people talking about mitochondrial function, adrenal fatigue, freaking metabolic damage, and whatever other jargon you see in a way that makes you feel like it has to be so complicated, seriously, just question it. Don't just say, oh, save me. Question it, because it is absolutely ludicrous. It is as simple as calories in, calories out. Your body adapts. It doesn't just get damaged unless you have a medical condition. And yes, there are going to be myths we're going to bust in following episodes, but just take this message from this podcast. Question everything you see. And if someone claims to you that they can genetically or metabolically alter your mitochondria, think about it. Your mitochondria is a cell within an organelle within your cells with so many intricate parts to it. It has barriers. It has, like, if anyone can say they can read the blueprint of a mitochondria, tell them, wow.
And adjust it for dieting and increase your metabolism via that. It's just crazy. So there are gurus out there that will, and the biggest jargon we're hearing at the moment, and we'll touch on this more, everyone is chronically stressed, so they've got cortisol problems, okay?
And if they say that reading into your sleep can fix that, then they really do not know how complex bringing in sleep is to the whole equation.
Yeah. I mean, I can test your cortisol 4 times in one day and it'll be different. So if you're going to tell me that you can sit down with someone for half an hour and diagnose them as having stress issues with cortisol and that's why they're not losing weight or that's why they're having trouble with their figure, they're giving you the answer you want, because everyone wants an excuse. Everyone wants it. Deep down you want it, and that might make me an asshole for saying it, but deep down everyone wants an excuse as to why they are the way they are. And some people have some excuses, don't get me wrong. There's medical excuses out there. If you're missing a leg, it's harder to walk and be active. I get it. And there's actual,
People want to be fixed. Like, if there is something not right with my body and I can't figure it out, I will do everything I can to just be given a diagnosis to put it to rest. So I will search high and low for that diagnosis. As soon as someone can tell me about it, I'll be like, oh my God, you're my guru. So that's why so many people fall prey to these stupid, ridiculous terms that don't have a backing behind it. Just don't be one of those people.
And I'm telling you, your guru isn't the guy with 20,000 followers on Instagram with nothing but bodybuilding photos, calling himself some mystical guru name. It's not him. If someone's calling them a functional professor, call himself some functional medical guru.
Environmental professor.
I salute you for your marketing skills. Your marketing skills are out of control good. But
can you relate that to the practicalities of every single individual? No.
Heck no. They recover because they eat normally for a while. You get them on a diet that goes a little bit higher in fat. You bring their fat back up because most women, and this is women who have competed, they go on these ridiculously low diets, and I'm not saying they're great either, but then they recover over 3 months and you're the guru. So hats off to you. But they would have recovered anyway by just eating a good solid diet and resting.
That's another thing. Exercise. Too much exercise is not a good thing. You don't want to do too much. You want to do just enough. Because the more you do, the more sympathetic stress you're going to put onto your body. And the more it's like, how many people have you overcompensate for your exercise with extra food? Like, the stress that exercise puts onto you can mask any sort of progress you're making to make you claim metabolic damage.
Absolutely agree. I think we've got too many topics for other days. We don't want to make these too long because we don't want to have you switch it off and bore you and miss anything. But many more to come, people. Many more to come, and I hope you enjoyed it. And we'll talk to you soon.
Any myths you want us to bust, just let us know. Inbox us or comment on the comment feed below the podcast, and we will put in all our efforts to address them in future podcasts.
That might be next. We might do myth busting next, and we're waiting on a really special guest to talk about insulin resistance. What really causes type 2 diabetes? Watch your space.